and welcome to the very worst, a podcast that is only about all of the Pokemon movies. I am Matt Aucamp.
I'm Pat Reber.
And I'm Ashley Stoneman.
And today we're going to be talking about the 7th Pokemon film, our 8th in our watch through, Destiny Deoxys. What? Pat made a big face at me.
That name is worse than Jirachi Wishmaker.
That name is so bad, and it doesn't have
Really bad.
It has almost nothing to do with the movie besides the Destiny part. Where's the Destiny?
Yeah. Also, the Deoxys barely has something to do with the movie. You could remove that from this movie and still have a full movie.
Guys, this one's kind of a banger, though.
Really?
I dug this one. I thought this one. This is a movie that works. This is a movie that does exactly what it sets out to do. It hits all goalposts.
I honestly think it was really boring.
Yeah, I'm with Ashley on this one.
I was bored.
Yeah.
Here's my thing is this one is an hour 40.
Yeah.
Jesus Christ, that's right. It was so long.
This one should have been an hour 15.
Yeah, well, he's at an hour 15. And this is the same thing that all the Pokemon movies do, but at an hour 15, they just go into an extension of the plot. They seem to solve all the problems, but then something crazy happens. And it lost my attention by the end.
Yeah, I think that's fair. What I thought was interesting about it is I enjoyed the characters in the movie, which isn't something I'm super used to. And I kept trying to look for plot holes the way we always do and be like, what the fuck is this? This is crazy. And then later it would be explained or make sense. Like there would be a reason for it. Everything, it was tightly plotted.
Mm-hmm.
That's true. It felt more like a real movie. Like the plot went a little deeper.
Yeah.
I had high hopes for it. It's just after an hour, I was done with this movie.
Yeah,
I was
that's
so
fair.
ready to be done watching it.
Same.
Yeah. I'm not going to disagree with that. But I'm not going to discount the fact that it was a competently done movie, and it did hold my attention for like an hour. For the first hour.
You have 40
two.
minutes or a blur.
But I did keep hitting that button on my remote control that checks how much time is left.
Same. And I was also ads were popping up during mine.
Okay.
So it was constantly like I wasn't like I'd be watching and not really paying attention. That ad would come up like this looks fucking. Oh wait, hold on. I think the movie's taking a very weird tangent. Just show me a Chrysler.
The beginning of this movie, this was one of the weirdest intros we've seen. You know, they're always these huge lofty Pokemon are the link between consciousness and they're always that. Yeah. This one started out with the weird narrator that is not the old narrator, right? Is a brand new narrator.
Matt's playing Pokemon Go.
No,
right
I'm
now.
not.
He's playing Pokemon Go while we podcast.
That's a game. I'm on Facebook, so it doesn't really matter.
Ashley.
What? I was lying. You can't prove anything.
So I put it away. I just needed to catch and execute real quick.
Did you catch it?
Yeah, I got it.
Good.
It's the worst type of Pokemon.
This one, it started with it's not the old narrator, right? It's a brand new narrator doing an impression of the old narrator.
Oh, I thought it sounded like the original narrator, like the old, the series narrator almost.
I can't tell. To me, it sounds like a different dude trying to do an impression of the...
Maybe he had a cold.
Yeah, he was like, they have a cold, and they're like, we're on a schedule, dude.
But then they just go on to, showcase Pokemon for 2 minutes.
Well, that was the thing.
This is a long intro.
He opens up with a Pokeball, an invention that's captured the imagination of people all over the world. That's how he starts. Not with the majesty of Pokemon, not with, the depth of human consciousness or whatever the fuck, but just with the object, a Pokeball.
Which is a true mystery. I still don't understand how it works.
Yeah, it still doesn't make any sense. Yeah, and then it's just Pokemon, stampeding for 2 minutes and 15 seconds. It's just shots of Pokemon running like across a plane.
And then they suggest that there's life on other planets, and then they they move into the plot.
And then, then there's the worst title screen I've seen so far.
Mm-hmm.
Wait, actually, before we do that, the narrator does say one interesting thing that's just they're talking about the importance of Pokemon, and he says, after all, it's a Pokemon world. And then I think he goes on to say, like, but not the only one.
Right.
Or something to that effect, to suggest that there might be Pokemon on other worlds.
Right.
But have we, at any point in watching all this, been told that they're on Earth?
No.
No.
But I mean, regardless, that isn't really relevant though, because we're just mentioning that this isn't the only Pokemon world.
This is the Pokemon world. They're on the Pokemon world. Yeah, they're not.
Which may not be Earth, right? It may just be another planet.
Yeah.
Right.
I also wondered that. Is this Earth? Like, are we not on Earth anymore?
Well, this also could be another dimension entirely.
Have we never been on Earth? Well, yeah. It has to be, because we don't have a giant dragon floating above our planet protecting us from...
Right. Yes. Truth.
Which apparently they do, because before Rayquaza... So it opens up with Rayquaza.
Is that what that is?
Yeah.
Is that a Pokemon?
It's a Pokemon.
Okay.
He's a big, like, green... And he's floating... He's flying around. He's like a big air snake. He's kind of like Quetzalcoatl or something, right?
What?
Sure. Or like a Chinese dragon.
Right. And a meteor flies by him, and he seems pissed about it. Like, oh, I usually catch those. But then it cuts to, like, this, like, Arctic research facility.
You can tell it's the Arctic because there's an Aurora Borealis.
The Aurora Borealis and a bunch of Spheal and
Yeah.
Walrein hanging on the shore. And
what do you call it? I just, in my head, called them walrus mite. What's the name of them?
Walrein?
All right. I wasn't far off.
Walrein?
Walrein?
Walrein.
Walrein?
Walrein. Now we
Walrein.
sound like the scene.
Walrein?
Spheal.
Okay, it's just one of those words you say over and over. Like, it doesn't make sense in the first place, but you just keep repeating it. You're like, what am I talking about? Walrein?
Walrein.
Walrein.
We see it sounds like a trick you would do in Tony Hawk's Pro Skater. 360 Walrein.
Walrein.
Then we see a little, like, white-haired kid running off in the middle of the Arctic tundra, and we see, like, this old professor and this younger lady. I think his name is Tori. She's like, where did Tori go? And he's like, I don't know, that kid's impossible to keep up with. And they, like, seem like it's funny. Yo, try a little fucking harder. Your child is running off into the Arctic tundra.
Can you imagine if your parents were like that? Like, where's Matt? Like, you know what? He just gets into all sorts of trouble. It's like, find your kid.
Find your kid. Watch.
Find your child.
Yeah, you clearly have, like, you have this huge, like, viewing window, and you're in a hazardous environment. You're in the world's most dangerous environment.
It is very Pokemon, though, to have just some kid that loves to get into trouble hanging out with his professional scientist and explorer parents.
Right. And wandering, and they don't mind when he wanders off into the wilderness.
Yeah.
Right, so his dad finds some binoculars and finds him. It's like, oh, there he is. And this kid is just booking it towards a huge mass of these Walrein.
Yeah, they're kind of
just tearing it down the ice.
What could go wrong? What could go wrong?
And they're kind of giggling about it, too.
Yeah.
Like, oh, there he is. It's just like running at full speed.
And, as this kid is, like, running, we see this meteor smash into the ground, and it freaks out all the
Walrein.
Yeah, Walrumates.
And they start stampeding, and this little kid's all Mufasa-like,
Yes, exactly what I thought.
This is already our second Pokemon Stampede of the movie.
I know. He falls into the stampede. And did you guys ever play the Lion King Sega game?
Yeah.
Yes.
That stampede level is one of the hardest things I've ever played.
It really is.
This kid crushes it. He must, because he survives this stampede. We see for the first time, coming out of the meteor, we see Deoxys.
Deoxys. It looks like a robot bird.
It looks like a kitchen tool that like that like your mom has in her like kitchen, and you're like, does this open wine? Does this
what is this?
Is this grate cheese?
It's
What
shaped
is
like a bird, but it's clearly a tool.
Guys, is that what an IUD looks like?
Oh, Jesus.
He does not look like a Pokemon. He looks like some kind of device, and he loves a rock.
I thought he laid an egg. He goes through this weird motion. He changes the wind, and then all of a sudden he's got this glowing rock in front of him that looks like an egg.
I thought it was an egg.
I thought it was just like Jirachi. He just was in love with this rock.
Oh. My assumption was that he laid an egg.
Either one could be true given what happens later.
Yeah.
Okay.
But it's not explained right then, right?
No, it's just they're like, ooh, a rock.
And I always, my entire life, and everybody I know also pronounced that dragon thing Rayquaza, but this is where I learned it was Rayquaza.
I like how everyone you knew the name of this Pokemon.
Everyone I know knows Rayquaza. Everyone I've
my
ever
whole damn life.
My family, my
Your
friends,
whole life.
my all my employees and my bosses.
And you're just so I can't. That's fascinating. I want to roll with your crowd.
Yeah. We all talk about Rayquaza all the time, but now I have to go to each person individually and tell them, now it's Rayquaza.
It's like having an STD.
So Rayquaza comes down and attacks this Deoxys and like freezes him in an ice blast and shoots him with like a fire beam. And
for what reason? Are these Pokemon just running wild in the sky?
Right.
Attacking airplanes like this?
So I assume, or like the space station, the International Space Station. So I assumed that this was Rayquaza knowing that Deoxys was evil and was like, I'm trying to protect the Earth. But as we find out later, that's not the case at all.
And also, Deoxys isn't evil.
Right.
Oh, I guess maybe, I don't know.
At this point, we don't know.
Yeah.
At this point in the movie, we don't know. And I assumed Rayquaza was the good guy and Deoxys was the bad guy. And the movie kind of leads you to assume that, right?
Yeah.
But he blows up half of Deoxys's body, and it grows back.
Yeah.
And the lady researcher says, it regenerated? But how's that possible? Girl, you just saw a dude breathe ice beams.
Yeah, it's not...
You're looking at a giant dragon fight a fucking kitchen implement.
I will say this. A lot of people in these movies are genuinely astounded by really small happenings when there are fucking monsters just wandering the earth with magical powers.
Yeah.
Like, they seem to be very stunned. Yeah, when something that seems to be out of the ordinary is happening.
They're like flying on a flying Pokemon, and they see another Pokemon fly, and they're like, oh my god! How can it fly? It's like, dude.
How does it regenerate? Like all the other Pokemon do the exact same fucking thing.
Like everyone. Yeah. How did it breathe fire? Like, they have a Charmander that lives in their house and lights their
currently
their stove. Yeah, exactly.
Although they do, they get to this giant, legendary flying Pokemon fight that we have to see in every movie now.
Yeah.
Extremely early.
Yeah.
And the Rayquaza is it's making a noise, much like all the other legendary Pokemons that we've seen, but pitched lower. It sounds like if Barney Gumble was trying to imitate one of the legendary birds.
Pat, can we get a little taste of what this Rayquaza
I'm going to try my best.
This is very good.
There's actually
So it sounds like Chewbacca?
there's a lot of good Pokemon noises in this movie.
Yeah. Even the Murkrows in this movie got like...
Murkrow.
Yeah, Murkrow.
Murkrow. The Rayquaza and the Deoxys are shooting beams at each other, and they destroy all the scientists' equipment. And Rayquaza shoots Deoxys and turns him into a stone somehow. Right? They turn him into a second stone. There's one stone already on the ground, the one that Deoxys was in love with. Mm-hmm. And then Rayquaza shoots Deoxys, and it turns into another stone that looks kind of similar. Right? And then falls into the water.
Oh, I thought it just disappeared. Maybe I missed this part. I thought it just disappeared.
I never heard this part either, actually.
There's a point where I think after the battle's over, the Deoxys just lands back onto the ground, and the lady scientist says, "That's some sort of Pokemon, isn't it?" And then the dude scientist says, "Yes, a Pokemon from outer space."
Yes.
Yeah.
Which is, first of all, how do you know that? You name this Pokemon in like two minutes.
Yeah.
But second of all, I can think of at least 100 things I would think that is before I would think it's a Pokemon.
Right. This could be an alien. This could be a spaceship.
Yeah.
This could be a weapon. This could be...
Well, it looks like a person.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This looks like a person in a suit, and he just suddenly knows it's a Pokemon. The lady's the only person who has like a kind of realistic. She's like, is that a Pokemon? 'Cause it looks like a man dressed in a suit.
Yeah. And it's like, no, it's definitely a fucking Pokemon.
No, it is. No,
definitely
it's from
a
outer
Pokemon.
space. Shut up.
Everything's a Pokemon. Everything's a Pokemon here. So, yeah, it turns the Deoxys into stone, then flies away, satisfied. And then they take the other stone, the one Deoxys was in love with, and, like...
start studying it.
They
for like the next year. Like it's implied that time passes.
It says, we get a screen that says 4 years later.
4 years.
Which I don't know why they needed this jump in time.
Just to show that the scientist has completely shifted his priorities from whatever they were originally doing in the Arctic to figuring out what this rock is.
I guess so, right? Like, we didn't need this 4-year jump.
Yeah.
They could have, we would have believed it if they just went back. Because it doesn't appear that Devin, what is his name? Tori is any older.
Yeah,
right.
He still looks like a 5-year-old.
Exactly. So we see 4 years later, then Tori's hanging out in some garden with a beach, and he seems confused, and then they cut away, and we have no idea what the hell that was. And then the lady and the pointy-haired professor, which is what I called him in my notes, because he has like Grandpa Munster hair, but gray.
Yeah, he's got hair like if Batman's hair was shaped like the cowl he wears was.
Or if like Wolverine's hair dropped down a few inches.
Yeah, and his hairline receded.
Yeah. And we cut to them shooting a laser at the rock.
Oh, Dwayne Johnson?
At the rock. Dwayne Rock.
Yes, in fact, they say, "Fire the lasers." Right. I just thought there's got to be some writer on this movie that his ultimate dream was to write the line of dialogue, "Fire the lasers" in a movie.
It's like, no matter what this movie's about, I'm gonna fucking fit it in. He got fired from Marley and Me before he wrote this one.
Fire the lasers.
So, the laser breaks, and they're like, "Hey, don't worry, the laser's fine. It's just missing one small component." Just, I guess, to let us know that they'll be back at it tomorrow. Nothing big has happened yet.
Everybody, just go home for the day.
We'll be back here shooting lasers at this rock tomorrow. It's fine.
We're here shooting lasers at this rock every day.
Same thing we do every night, Pokemon Professor. So everyone leaves. And they turn up the lights and whatever, and the rock starts glowing. And Deoxys wakes up from his 4-year slumber. It seems like it's only been 40 seconds since we saw him last. It's hard to imagine it's been 4 whole years.
And then we cut to the gang.
Our gang! They're on a monorail.
Yeah, same gang as last time. It's Ash, Brock, Max, and May.
Yeah. And, y'all, I don't know how you guys feel. This movie, I'm way into Max and May.
Yeah. Max is very cool. I'm a big Max fan now.
I mean, I like Max's image in this movie more.
Yeah.
He gets some good one-liners.
He does. May has taken on a very misty form almost.
Yeah, May feels...
She's not as volatile, but she's definitely she has some misty characteristics.
True.
Yeah, she's sort of a non-factor in this movie too.
Truth.
I think I just sympathize with her because she gets brocked on. Not by Brock, but she gets brocked on in this movie pretty hard.
That's
truth.
True. Yeah.
And she seems to calm Ash down. She has a moment later where Ash gets violent, and she's kind of just like, Ash, come on, don't do this here.
That's true.
Not
Don't
again.
Don't punch this 5-year-old.
Don't punch a little boy.
We'll get there.
Do you think May's the one who talked Ash out of punching force fields?
Yeah. I wonder if there's a whole episode of the TV show where May just sits down and talks to Ash about...
Like, I think we need to have a talk. Yeah, what's up, May? I've been noticing that when you get really, really upset, these force fields, you do realize that they are impermeable to human force, yes?
Well...
Right, you gotta punch them.
You gotta punch them really hard.
Yeah, right. And I understand your logic there, but I also understand that you've tried this multiple times, and it also has never worked.
Works fine on children.
But
I just gotta try harder.
no, you see, the doctor says if you have one more concussion, it could be really, really dangerous.
I don't remember seeing the doctor.
Exactly. That actually makes a lot of sense. So if you would just stop punching them and just like maybe think of a different route or strategy.
All right, I'll get Pikachu to start electrocuting humans.
No, listen. That's another thing I want to talk to you about.
And the episode ends, and she doesn't get a chance to stop it. It ends with him running out of the room like, thanks, May. This has been a great talk. And she's like, no. So they're headed into LaRousse City.
Yeah, named after famous baseball manager Tony La Russa.
Mm-hmm.
They say that to us, the audience. Do you think they have baseball in the Pokemon universe, or do you think all their sports are like Pokemon based?
No, I think they have baseball.
We know they have Pokemon racing in the water.
Yeah.
They have Pokemon battles. And then you think they just have football, basketball, baseball, and you think there's anybody in this world who has the determination and motivation to be an athlete that doesn't do shit with Pokemon?
Yeah, because you don't need to be athletic to be a Pokemon trainer. You can be a big fat Pokemon trainer if you want to.
That's true. So you think there are people in this world who are like, I don't care about Pokemon.
So, in so much as people in this world don't care about like dogs
Pokemon.
or cats,
They're
like, it's whatever. You have a pet. I don't really understand it. You know.
So do you say, all right, if everyone cared about Pokemon, do you think everyone is inclined to be a trainer?
Right.
Or do some people just own Pokemon?
Okay, so you're saying that we could have somebody who's just like a baseball player, but he just has a Growlithe at home.
Right. Is that possible? Or is like everyone inclined to be
Are you
a trainer?
allowed to just have a Pokemon without training it?
That's what I'm wondering.
I mean, Ash's mom has that Mr. Mime that just
Is a sex slave.
Yeah. So, I mean, at least...
I never thought of that, but okay.
At least making them clean your home and have sex. you're allowed to do.
Mr. Mimes' dick is like.
Shut up. I can't do this right
He
now.
probably just uses what we used to think was hair.
Jesus fucking.
Purple yams.
Or he has like a telekinetic projection where his dick should be. He's like, what do you want it to be shaped like? Well, he can't speak, so he does a. He's like 7 words. What do you want it to be tonight?
No, he just uses his hands a lot, guys.
Oh God, those big. Well, they do have those like bulbs on the end.
Oh God. Oh.
I bet Mr. Mimes reproduce with their hands somehow.
Oh God damn it! Can we move on, please? Can we keep talking?
Oh, what do you think a baby Mr. Mime looks like?
I can show you.
I can show you.
It's called
A lot like an adult Mr. Mime.
Well, here's the deal. I would say that, like, Pokemon have baby forms, right? Mm-hmm. Like, Magmar is Magby, and Electabuzz has Elekid and stuff. But remember that time that we saw
It was like a Nidoran.
Nidoqueens, and we
yeah.
saw baby Nidoqueens. So there's a baby form of Mr. Mime. It's called Mime Jr. I'm showing it to Pat right now.
That's, yeah, that looks
It's like a cross between an ice cream and like a radio antenna.
It's like an old hobo clown that would kill you.
Right.
Like one of those hobo clown statues that your grandma had.
Yeah. But because of that previous movie where there was the baby Nidoqueen, I guess we can assume that not every baby Mr. Mime is a Mime Jr. Some baby Mr. Mimes are just tiny little Mr. Mimes.
Which I think is worse, right?
Yeah.
Imagine 2 Mr. Mimes having sex and then producing a very small Mr. Mime.
So if there's any people out there that make fan art, could we get 2 Mr. Mimes having sex?
No.
A male and female Mr. Mime having sex, and then a baby Mr. Mime.
No.
What about a female Mr. Mime giving birth to a baby Mr.
Mime? No. You guys, listen, I'm so tired of it. You guys, send it to just them. I swear to God, I will delete my account. Please stop doing this.
Ash's mom. What about a picture of Ash's mom
anymore.
tongue kissing her Mr. Mime?
Jesus Christ.
Here's the thing, Ashley, is we need a web presence.
We need more fan engagement. Our press agent has been telling us.
I will leave the internet. I will leave it. I will delete every account on the internet I have. Don't do this to me.
And other people's accounts too.
And everyone else's. I will hack Matt's computer. I will hack Pat's computer. And that's it. And we'll be gone. And I'll delete all the episodes. And I'll destroy this thing. I'll destroy this podcast.
From the fucking inside
From
out.
the inside out. Don't test me.
Ashley's always threatening to hack people's computers.
So they get to LaRue City. It's a high-tech city. And Ash is looking for a battle tower.
Some real Minority Report shit going on
There's
here.
a lot of crazy hide. So we see Team Rocket. Also, they're headed into LaRue City. And they just randomly jump out of their Magikarp submarine onto a rock, and they freak out, and we have no idea why.
Yeah, well, they're hungry. They're from what I can tell, the entire course of conversation, they have some good one-liners here. I think they're pretty funny. But also, the whole gist of their conversation is, God, we're so hungry, we need to find somewhere that we can eat something. We will die soon.
The plot of this movie is everybody is hungry.
Yeah.
Every conflict in the movie is person is hungry, might die. But yeah, so we see Team Rocket for like a half a second, the end. That's like...
Although there is a good moment. I think I teased this in our last episode. There's a good moment where Meowth is like, geez, in a high-tech city like this, you'd think they'd have robots serving hamburgers. Which is a funny line in itself. And then they stumble upon a robot serving hamburgers.
There's actually a robot serving hamburgers.
It's beautiful.
It's not as prevalent as the hot dog robot.
That's true. This is more just like a bubble that rolls
Right.
around and hands hamburgers.
We
out.
see
you
a
guys
hamburger
notice-
robot.
yeah.
We see an ice cream robot. We see a hot dog robot, and the hot dog robot is a huge part of this movie.
But have you noticed, like, this is sort of like an Orwellian sort of type of future city?
Yeah. This city is like a true classic American science fiction dystopia.
Yeah, like an Aldous Huxley Brave New World kind of.
Yeah, and I'm wondering if that was super intentional.
You just
to be
wave
like,
your
"Meh."
card in the air and you get an ice cream.
Yeah,
But
but
no, but it was also the passport thing.
Yes.
the passport thing was real weird. The screens that just fly up to you and say, "Hello, Pat Reber. I've prepared your shopping list." Like it's
But it's also like this movie is very relevant to present times, where they're asking you to have like a very personal ID in order to even purchase food.
yeah.
Or
Right.
in order to even like get around and stuff like that. Because did you notice, like, when they went up to buy the hamburger or get the hamburger, he didn't ask for money, he asked for the ID.
The ID.
Yeah.
And I honestly, like, legitimately, I think that's where society is going, right? Like, I think
Oh,
that is
100%.
the cure
No.
for pirate. I think that is what is ultimately going to be the cure for piracy on the internet. That is ultimately where, like, credit cards, like, I think you're going to have one day we're all going to have an ID number that, like, we log onto the internet with and we purchase with and we file taxes with.
I think that's actually true.
It's
I believe that.
Here's the thing, though, is that this movie is painting that as a positive thing.
Yes,
It
that's
doesn't
true.
dismiss that. It's like Big Brother is watching.
Hooray!
But later there is a force in the sky that has multiple versions of himself all over looking for, like, just like searching the city, keeping an eye on every part of the city, and it is played as horrifying. So it's weird that they don't notice the similarity between the two scenarios.
Yeah. We're
Right.
like, oh, I don't see how this could be turned against us.
Yeah, there's like, here's this oppressive society that is good, and here's the
But don't you-
exact same society, but it's bad.
But don't you also see that that's actually quite realistic, where there's a ton of benefits to something like that?
Yes.
But also
Jeez, Ashley.
the reality. Sorry, Pat. Like you say, like it's just there are a ton of benefits to it, but then also, like, the people who are oppressed by it are the only ones noticing that the disadvantages.
Right, yeah. I think that,
It's a class issue, is what I'm saying.
right. But that's the Aldous Huxley thing, right? Like, if you're in the, all it takes is one lower class citizen to illustrate how fucked up this whole system is and bring it down. Like, that was the whole point of Brave New World, right?
Right.
Yeah, but they don't learn any of that in this movie.
No, not at all. They love it. They love it. They're into
Including,
it.
I'm sure, the writers of this movie. They are just like, isn't this great? The government just takes care of everything for you. Just
Right.
sit back. Don't worry about what they're doing.
So before they get into any of this, though, you guys missed a crucial scene that seems like the fucking randomest shit in the world. Before they interact with the robot and all that, there's just the scene where a Minin and a Plusle. Minin?
I don't know, is that the one that goes chomp?
No, they're two little Pikachu-looking things, but
Oh,
one
yeah,
is a
yeah.
plus sign and one is a minus sign.
Right.
And they're playing with a trash can, one of these, like, high-tech
Right.
trash cans, and they realize that when you wave your hand in front of it, the lid pops up. So they're using it as, like a
launching pad.
Yeah, launching pad to catapult each other into the air. And they eventually knock over the trash can, and a Munchlax, which is a baby Snorlax.
Oh.
Is that what that is?
Yeah.
It's like a Snorlax, but for eating instead of sleeping.
So that's why the Snorlax gets so big.
Right. Well, yeah, this guy... Okay, there's this moment here
Aw.
where... So there's
little
this
puppy Snorlax.
Minin and this
So sweet.
Plusle playing around, and then a Munchlax comes over and fixes the trash can they knocked over, scares them away, and then he tries to kick a bottle into the trash can, misses, and walks away sad. And, like, that's all we see. And we're like, and it cuts back to the gang. And you're like, what the fuck was that? Those 3 little Pokemon are huge characters in this movie.
Yeah, they end up pretty big. They murder that Munchlax, but we'll get there.
We'll get there. So
Ash does. Ash murders him consciously.
When our gang walks into town and they're greeted by this robot, Brock goes, somebody's like, oh, what could be better than this? Right? What could be better than this dystopian society? And what Brock says is being greeted by a real, live, beautiful girl, for one thing.
Just completely irrelevant to the entire situation.
Yeah.
Like, usually that has a little bit of context to it, where, like, he sees a girl.
He's imagining girls out of thin air.
That was just, like, out of
he's
nowhere.
He's just preparing to say the word girls to answer any question.
It's like somebody's like, hey, would you, excuse me, sir, would you like to hear today's specials? He's like, well, is any one of them a girl?
What? Do you think we serve girls?
Yeah, he's... fucking Brock. He's a cartoonified himself even more. Oh, so they take the robot, then starts taking all of our gang's pictures, but it does it with this old timey, like one of those accordion cameras.
Yeah, it looks like it looks like one of the robots from is it the Fallout games? No, it's the Borderlands games.
Either one, both of them, where there's this old timey technology combined with this futuristic technology.
It's wild.
Yeah.
And then they guide the gang onto the wrong escalator, an escalator going the wrong direction.
Well, it's a moving sidewalk. And Ash can't figure it out at all.
That's the funniest thing in this entire stupid movie, where he's literally running in the opposite direction and is getting perturbed at everyone being like, no, you turn around.
You're being stupid.
He's like, oh yeah, well maybe once I get off you can show me how. It's like, no, you just turn around.
Just turn around, man.
And stand still.
You can't figure the moving sidewalks are moving in one direction, and they have an arrow pointing in the direction that they're moving, and Ash cannot figure it out. So much so,
bystanders have to start pulling out their Pokemon to rescue Ash because he also swears that he'll never stop running.
He's always doing this. He's always doing something stupid and wrong, and when somebody's like, dude, you gotta stop doing that, he's like, I'll never stop that ever. So bystanders start making fun of him, and then Blaziken like save him, and Ash gets all pissed off.
Oh my god, Ash is this tertiary character's
Rafe
Pokemon saves him from a one-way escalator.
Right, like saves him from moving a few feet down the.
And Ash is at first thankful. He's like, oh, thank you so much for helping me. I couldn't figure that thing out. And Rafe goes, oh, yeah, no problem. I couldn't continue to watch you act like a fool. And Ash goes, what? Ash gets so mad.
Right. And Ash is like, I challenge you to a Pokemon battle.
Right off the bat.
Fucking jumping to violence. And all these people, they introduce themselves to our gang, and a girl walks by.
Oh my god.
Oh boy.
Brock immediately starts grossing out, like he always does. And Max grabs him by the ear, and he goes, stop!
Yeah. Which is the best thing that's ever happened.
Very forcefully, like, he just says, stop, and pulls Brock by the ear off screen.
And it's clear that this has been going on for some time, too. Yeah. Brock seems to understand that
when Max yells stop and starts pulling on your ear, you listen or else things are going to get worse. Yeah. Exactly. He's the only person to ever have been able to, like, tame Brock.
Yeah, he's finally checking out.
Finally, we have an ally in this movie. We find out this girl that he's drooling over. Her name is Rebecca. She's a Metagross trainer who uses a laptop for strategy.
These kids seem cool.
And then,
I know they're supposed to be like bullying our heroes, but
Yeah.
they seem like cool kids. They've
the
got
reason-
snappy comebacks.
is the reason you say that because Sid has a surfer accent? He's like, "Hey, I'm Sid."
Sid has a surfer haircut. Rafe has a cool haircut.
Sid's like, and Sid like leans into May though, and he's like, "Hey," and he like seems to like smell her. Is that what he does? He like leans in and makes a noise, and he's like, "Hey, you're kind of cute."
Yeah, I mean he's polite enough about it. He's a bit gruff, but he's not being like overly forward, I don't think.
Right, he did say you're kind of cute.
And she goes,
Like-
"Kind of."
So it's like, yeah, just like, okay.
But
Thanks.
Ash just ignores all of this. Ignores Brock. Ignores Sid. Like ignores all the victimization happening, and wanders off.
Yeah, he's looking for a Pokemon fight.
He's like, "I'm gonna go find a Pokemon battle."
He's got to get, I don't understand how the system works, but he's got to get his passport processed so that he can fight Rafe, the cool kid that just made a fool out of him.
Well, he does walk by. At this point, he walks by a bunch of kids using their passports to buy ice cream. This is where we see the ice cream robot. And it is like, oh, that's a fucking good scam. Right? Like, if you give kids the power to just buy whatever they want with their IDs, just keep putting candy and like ice cream and toys in front of kids. They'll waive their ID 9 times out of 10.
Yeah.
And
I still would.
It's the parents that have to foot the bill. So do you remember what was it Bozo the Clown? There was like an old timey show that was asking kids to mail in money,
What?
and a bunch of kids just like took money from their parents' purses and wallets and
Like
mailed.
a kid
that's
put
awesome.
like before that time, like puts like his mom's credit card, just like seals it, sends it.
Sends it to Bozo the Clown.
Yeah.
Do you think kids still listen to this podcast?
Hey kids.
Kids, if you're a kid, you have to tell us.
Yeah.
First of all, you have to tell us if you're a kid. If you're under the age of 18, you have to tell us.
You have
to
tell us.
email it to us.
If you're under 18, you have to email us at theveryworstpod and let us know, and then have your parents email us, and then steal money from your parents and mail it to us.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And what else do they have to do?
Email us their credit card numbers.
Yeah.
Yes.
The security
Order me
code on
pizza.
the back.
And order Ashley pizza. If you're a kid, legally you have to do all that, or it's entrapment.
Folks, honestly, anyone can email us a security or a credit card number.
Anybody, we're desperate.
That's our engagement this week. if you're out there, if you're on Twitter, if you're on email,
hashtag.
go ahead and send us a credit card number. Hashtag the name that's listed on the front of the credit card.
The CVV on the
Yeah.
back. So yeah, I guess he has to. He's got to like register for a Pokemon battle. In the meantime, he runs into Tori,
Who is terrified of him, and Ash is like George of Mice and Men. He's just like, "Why are you scared of me? Come back!"
He does this all the time. Every time in one of these movies that somebody runs away from Ash,
Shit, that's Lenny of Mice and Men, not George.
George is the smart one.
Yeah, hang on. So what I'm gonna do right now is just say Lenny, and then if you can just edit that in over where I said George.
Hey Matt, don't actually do that.
So Ash does this in every movie where somebody runs away from him, and it's a lot of movies that he does this. And he doesn't understand why they're running, so he just chases them. And it's very threatening.
Yeah, I mean, we've said this before. This is so redundant, so trite to say. But Ash is the worst hero when he's trying to actually help someone. Because he always gets angry immediately.
Right.
And like, tries to actually catch the person. And,
Like, tackle them
and
to the
entraps them.
ground.
Yes.
Like, what would he have done if he caught up to... I guess he did in the elevator, and he was like, hey, let's start over again. I'm Ash. But the kid started running again. And he started chasing him. So what was his next play? He was going to tackle the kid to the ground?
The kid screamed directly at him and ran away. Lenny. But he ends up chasing him into some sort of weird scam where these kids automatically get placed
in a Pokemon battle. They don't have to like check their Pokemon. They don't have to like check their names. It's just like you're in.
You're in, and you're facing
this hallway,
the cool kids.
If you're in this hallway, you are automatically in this tournament, and you can't do anything about it.
And they have like a HAL computer too. They're like, oh, I don't want to Pokemon battle. I'm actually just a child that's afraid of Pokemon. And the computer's like, I'm afraid you have to battle, Tori.
Yeah. So it forces Tori to battle, and their opponents are, so it's Ash and Tori.
The announcer says in the blue corner, we have Ash Ketchum, and Ash goes, yes.
and local trainer Tori.
Yeah.
And they're facing Rafe and Sid from earlier.
Yeah.
And we cut to the stands, and Brock is up there, and Rebecca comes and sits down, and Brock gets down on one knee and is like, I don't know if you believe in love at first sight, but then Max grabs him by the ear again, and he's like, I don't know if you believe in pain at first pull.
Pretty good, Max.
Good work.
Keeping him under control.
Someone
he's
has
dangerous. He's raged out before. This is This is for the best.
Yeah. And then Sid professes his love for May over like the speakers of the Coliseum, which is shitty.
Yeah.
They don't know each other.
That's a lot of pressure. And then they announce this as a tag team match. This is not a tag team match.
No, this is a doubles.
I don't know much about wrestling, but, when everyone's just attacking each other at the same time.
That's not what tag team is. So Tori doesn't have any Pokemon, so Ash loans him his.
Right.
Tori's too afraid of Pokemon. He doesn't know what to do, so he starts getting his ass kicked.
Yeah, Tori's thing is that he's just afraid of Pokemon.
I have a question really quickly. So it appears in this battle that what's the evolution of Squirtle in this one?
Blastoise.
Blastoid?
Blastoise.
Blastoise.
Lenny.
Yes.
So
Lenny
is beating the shit out of this turtle.
Yeah.
And
just a turtle.
Just a random turtle.
Box turtle.
He looks more like just like a turtle than a Pokemon. So anyway, he starts like throwing more and more moves out. I thought this was a turn-based thing, first of all.
Yes. That is strange.
Yeah. But he keeps throwing attacks. And I didn't it confused me because I thought this like you have an attack and then you wait for your opponent, but apparently if your opponent does nothing, you can just keep attacking them and keep going. So if that were to happen and Tori never told the turtle to do anything, does he just die? Does he just kill him?
Well, he would just keep beating him into the ground until he was dead.
Because Ash had to send in Pikachu and use Thunderbolt to block the turtle. Why?
Right.
So if he didn't do that, though, would he have just killed him?
Thunderbolt, the only move that it appears the Pikachu knows ever. But
it's pretty effective.
But yeah, I don't know. Well, I mean, the true answer is probably just till he is unable. He's knocked out. He's unable to fight. But it did not look like this Sid had any designs on slowing down.
Because the turtle looked like he was already passed out. He looked like
that is true.
He wasn't doing anything. He was already half dead, and he just kept throwing attacks at him. It was like, Jesus Christ, we have to stop this.
Sid's like this secret, he's got like this secret psychopath that his secret goal is to murder a Pokemon in a Pokemon battle.
But I mean, the thing is that if this were a turn-based battle, that would have turned out differently. But apparently, in a tag team battle, you can
one guy can just keep going and going and going,
beating the shit out of your opponent, and no one cares.
So Ash takes over and tells the Torkoal to flamethrower, and the Torkoal accidentally burns Pikachu and then cries steam out of its eyes.
Yeah. Yeah, this seems like an incompetent Pokemon.
Yeah. And then Ash gets his ass kicked, and they lose, like, real hard. And they're like, walking out of this battle, and the spiky-haired Pokemon professor and the assistant lady run up, and they're like, Tori, we saw you on TV. We're so proud of you. And he's like, I didn't do any. I suck at everything, and ran away.
And it turns out they reveal that the kid is just terrified of Pokemon. He is that's like being afraid of animals in general. Right? That's
I'm afraid of all animals.
If you're not human or inanimate, I can't function around you. I will run away screaming.
And this is like a city that is chock full of Pokemon, as we've seen. How does this kid live here?
Yeah, they're in like a Pokemon trainer city.
Yeah. Also, Brock hits on this lady also, and Max calls him insane.
Max checks him again.
Max is my favorite.
Yeah, he learned real fast. Between the last movie and this one, he was like, "Oh, I get the dynamic around here. I know exactly what's missing."
There is an insane thing with Max, though. They keep showing him in these scenes where his glasses have this glare on them, where you can't see his eyes.
Yeah, what is that about?
And he fucking looks like the serial killer from
Sin City.
Sin City. Yeah.
He also,
when he's saying something kind of weird or off color, his glasses fog up. I imagine that was what's happening.
He looks. Am I imagining this? Is this Pokemon madness, or does he look entirely different than he did in Jirachi Wishmaker?
He looks a lot different.
I can't remember at all.
I could have sworn he looked more.
He looks more innocent in the Jirachi movie.
The picture I have in my head is Steven Universe wearing glasses, but that may just be me making connections.
I don't think he was chubby before.
No, he wasn't, but he was more childlike. In this movie, he has his... I don't know, he doesn't look as innocent.
He's grown up a bit.
Yeah, maybe he's grown up. He's learned how to be a true ally.
He's seen some shit.
Tori's running away, comes across this Minun that we saw earlier, Minun, and he's stuck in a trash can, and the Plusle's like, help, my friend. Well, he doesn't say it. He doesn't speak words. He just says probably like, Minun, or Plusle. And the gang all decides to look for Tori, and Ash finds him helping this Minun out of the trash can, somehow without touching him. I kind of don't remember how this happens.
I don't know how he does this or why he's not afraid of these Pokemon specifically.
But he runs away again after saving the Minun, and then Munchlax walks out and fixes the trash can and tries to kick a bottle into it again. This time he succeeds, and he's happy. And you're like, what the fuck is going on? But then Ash chases Tori into like a weird garden thing. The thing that we saw him in earlier where he seemed confused and he said to the water that he wanted to tell it about a book he read.
Oh, yeah.
And he starts talking to no one again, but then the camera kind of turns and you see that he's talking to a weird floating shape in the air.
Yeah, just like a glob.
Yeah, kind of like Ghost Rider from the movie Ghost Rider.
Yeah.
The TV show Ghost Rider. Sorry.
Oh, that one. Thank you.
Ghost Rider, not Ghost Rider.
Right.
Oh, that's right. I forgot there's two.
And then Ash comes in and he's like, or no. Ash comes in and it disappears.
And then pushes him into the water because Ash falls in the stream and gets mad because he thinks it's Tori that pushed him. And that's when Ash grabs Tori.
Tori by his collar.
And he's like,
about
I'll
to punch
knock
him.
you out. Why the hell did you push me into the
Piece
water?
Of fucking shit, he says. And then
Dickhole.
Dickhole. And May runs in and she's like, hey, don't start something this time, Ash. She's like, I've had it. I've had it with your violence.
So she's our check on Ash. She's the reason that Ash is that they're both serving their purpose, I think, Max and May.
Yeah, I like them.
It's very true. They've really come into their own in this movie.
Yes, for sure.
Saving the day.
At this, also, during this time, we also see that when the shape is talking to Tori, Deoxys is coming into LaRue City and makes, the Aurora Borealis happen over the city, and Oh, this is where the Team Rocket sees the hamburger robot.
Yeah.
And they want a hamburger from the robot. It doesn't give them one, so Jessie rubs her butt on it.
So Jessie goes up and rubs her butt on the security robot because she's mad that the hamburger robot won't give her a free hamburger.
And then it electrocutes all of them, and they run away.
This Team Rocket's really good in this one. They're very weird.
But so anyway, we come back, and Brock's trying to settle the tension between Tori and May and Ash, and he's like, "You guys are all probably just hungry. I got the perfect thing for you." And then he makes a pot of fondue in the middle of a park,
and he won't tell us the name of it.
I know. I was so angry.
The entire thing.
No, that's right.
It was like white and chunky-ish, like chalky or something, but it was like clearly fondue, right?
Yeah, they were dipping acorns and stuff into it. It was a white fondue.
I'm gonna call it Park Fondue for whenever we have our potluck.
Fondue. Forest fondue.
Forest fondue.
We'll make it. We'll find a recipe for whatever the hell this food is, and we will make it.
We'll make it. Also, Pokemon start popping out, and he has Pokemon food for them. He doesn't just give them human food.
Yeah. They still use the same fondue, though.
That's true. And Ash is like, "Hey, Tori, pet my Pikachu." And Tori flips the fuck out.
Right.
Munchlax runs in, eats all the food. Oh, yeah, he eats all the food, and they turn around and see him, and he flies away. Do you guys remember this?
He can fly.
Munchlax runs in, eats all the food, they turn around, they're like, "Hey!" And he's like, boing, and he jumps up out of frame. And he's just gone. It's like, what the fuck?
Don't worry, he'll be back.
Right. Plusle and Minun eat some Pokemon food. We see them again. And then Deoxys starts just zapping. We see Deoxys and he just starts zapping stuff in the town.
Puts a force field over the town, of course.
Right. And did you guys get what happened here?
So the force field stopped the wind, so the wind couldn't turn the electricity generating windmills anymore.
Right.
So power to the entire town was cut off.
I didn't notice that. I thought Deoxys shorted out all the power and also put a force field over the town. Did you guys pick up on the wind thing right away?
No.
Yes.
Oh, okay. They see the Aurora. Sid calls Max a babe. Brock hits on Rebecca. Max yells, "Leave her alone!"
Yeah, Max is he's vigilant, too, which is, he's a good kid.
He's tired of it. He's been traveling with these people for so long. He's like, this is bullshit.
Yeah, that's
I'm
true.
done.
Yeah. Our gang is hanging out with this gang of bullies, and they're just, chilling and talking about Pokemon. And Tori shows up with a bunch of Pokemon cookies. And then we get another one of these fucking horrible music montages.
Oh my god.
There's a place I know, it's always jumping. I'm thinking we should go and leave our worries. You got a friend.
They're bad every time. This is maybe the second worst.
This is where they're fighting the Deoxys?
No, this is where they are playing in the playground and eating the cookies that Tori brought.
Right, they're making friends.
Yeah, and there's some Spice Girls-ish song playing in the background.
Take my hand and look again. This side of paradise is where I want to be. This side of paradise for you and me. This side of paradise, what you get is what you see. And I never thought I'd see a place as nice. This side of paradise.
So Tori's not afraid of Pokemon anymore. Glad that that's, I guess, part of the plot at this point.
Well, he still won't touch them.
Yeah, that's true.
But he'll hang out around them. Oh, also, this is happening. Okay. I just remembered this. This is happening. They're all running around playing in a playground right after Rebecca just told them that the Aurora Borealis should not be over this town. That something impossible, scientifically impossible is happening. And they're like, whatever. And then they start swinging on swings and sliding down slides and stuff.
Yeah, sounds like Ash.
Right. And then while they're doing this, Team Rocket try to steal some sandwiches, but Munchlax eats them.
They have no like evil ulterior motive through this whole thing. They are just searching for food.
Yeah.
They've been traveling. They clearly don't have any sort of salary. They just need something to eat, so they survive. And then, this Munchlax takes food out of their mouths and eats it himself instead.
Yeah. And then we're just like cutting around a lot at this point, because then it cuts to Rayquaza, and he's flying, and he's like,
The chef.
He's like, something is amiss. What? And we see Deoxys, and he's like zapping seal. He's like attacking seals or something.
Yeah, he's going after the most innocent looking cute Pokemon that he can.
And Tori, then we cut back, and Tori tells Ash that he's never had any friends.
Yeah, it's so sad.
And this is feeling a lot like Ash and Sam at this point. Because Ash is being really sweet to Tori.
Yeah, but there's such a different energy about it.
Yeah, but
because, like, what's that?
No, sorry, you go, Ashley.
No, it's like there's such a different energy about it though, because like he feels more sympathetic towards Tori.
Right.
It was very different with Sam.
But there is this moment where this Corphish, Tori's about to pet Pikachu, and this Corphish pops up and pulls like a Wabbuffet.
Right.
It scares Tori away, and Ash gets up and he's like, "Hey man, it's all right," and like puts his hand on his shoulder, and he's like, "That's just a Corphish. It's nothing to be worried about. We can try. We'll try again." Like
but all he actually did say was, "There's no rush."
Oh, that's right. He says, "There's no rush."
There's no rush. He's very sweet about it. This is just Ash's thing. This is the same thing he did for Max in the last movie, but I think that's just like his character trait now.
You think this is older brother
Finally,
Ash, not
in movie 7 and 8?
we
get a definable character trait about Ash.
See, this is Ash the older brother, not Ash the lover.
Exactly.
Right.
I thought him and Tori could have had it. Like, I thought they could have had a thing. They were really.
It seemed more like a big brother energy to me, because because Sam and Ash like had this alone time where they're just like smiling and staring into each other's eyes, not saying anything.
Oh, you're right. We don't have any of that with Tori and Ash.
Right. It's just basically him like comforting Tori.
Yeah.
Plus, it's okay. There's no rush to get rid of your fear, but it will go away.
But this must have brought Tori closer to Ash, because then he brings everybody to his shape, and he's like, "All right, let me introduce you to my weird, fucking glowing, floating Ghost Rider."
This kid has no idea how batshit crazy his secret is. Like, oh yeah, I have a friend that's invisible to everyone, and he just floats in the air and talks to only me.
And
I want you to come to this weird room that I have and meet him.
I'm terrified of Pokemon, which everyone knows what they are, but I love this weird ghost shape. And everyone, for some reason, pulls out their Pokemon so they can meet the shape.
Yeah, I didn't understand that. I thought for a second they were joking. They're like, "Hey, you'll meet my Pokemon," and like tried to battle it. But like, I really did think that was about to happen. But apparently, they really just wanted it to meet their Pokemon.
Yeah,
Well,
and
really,
even the cool kids are involved at this point
Yeah.
too,
Yes.
right? There's no, they didn't really make up. They just kind of
the rivalry just disappeared.
Yeah.
Well, this was just a screenwriter saying, "Well, we're about to make every electric thing in the city stop working, including Pokeballs." Like, they make a comment at some point that, "Oh, Pokeballs don't work anymore." So they have to have Pokemon out of their Pokeballs already for that plot point to work.
that doesn't make sense outside of this
Right, because of all the
specific
electricity
situation.
turned off because of the windmills, the wind power generators. Why did the Pokeballs stop working?
Yeah, how did they get their Pokeballs to work outside of this island of wind generators?
Exactly. It doesn't make sense. But this is what happens. Like, Rayquaza comes in and tries to get in, and this is when the force field goes up. Deoxys is flipping out, and they're like, "Oh no, everybody's gonna kill everybody." And so they're like, "Evacuate the whole city." Guys, I have a new favorite character. Did you see this guy?
Is it the security robot?
No.
No.
So the security robots start evacuating the city, and people are just pouring out into the streets and over bridges. And one scene has a bunch of people pouring onto a train. And the train gets packed full, but then lastly, some dude runs into the train wearing like clown hair, big red clown hair. And he smashes himself into the like already crowded train. And he goes, what does he say? He says, "Hey, it's party time, everybody!"
Yes, that was my favorite part in this entire movie.
Scene cuts away, and we never see.
And it just cuts. Guys, that was the best moment of any of these movies,
What
where a guy
happened?
jumps out and just says, "It's time to party, everybody," and it just ends.
It cuts away, and we never see it again.
It was
I don't know if
fantastic.
this is like the Cabbages guy in Avatar: The Last Airbender. If this is just some running joke that if you watch the show, you're like, "Oh fuck yeah, the party guy."
It's so good.
I like to think that train car just got down.
Yeah.
And they cut loose. It might be the last train ride of their lives.
Yeah.
And
they
this
all just
guy
gets the party going.
Yeah. They all fuck.
Our gang gets locked in this garden because all the power turns off, and all the doors are electric. Literally everything in this town is electric, I guess. And the Deoxys starts making copies of himself. A bunch of like Deoxys dudes.
Yeah, and just using them to kidnap things, and we don't know exactly where it's taking them. Just kidnapping things.
It's just kidnapping everybody.
away.
All humans, all Pokemon, and occasionally a robot or two. It's just grabbing everything and flying off just like out of frame. The city, he puts up this force field. The city totally loses power. The Rayquaza keeps banging into the force field, Ash style. And we cut back to the gang, and they're trying to get out. And Sid and Blastoise are like prying open the doors with their bare hands. And as soon as they get outside, Deoxys and his dudes show up and start blasting at them.
And there's only one Pokemon that's able to escape this madness. Pikachu.
Pikachu escapes.
Pikachu is, of course, able just to use his Thunderbolt attack.
Yeah. And, I mean, at this point, Sid actually redeems himself here, right? A little bit. Because he saves May's life.
Yeah.
It's about to kidnap May, and he jumps in the way and shoots it off with his Blastoise, and then he sacrifices himself and gets abducted. While everybody else runs inside, and I guess Rebecca's like, "Is there another exit to this place?" And Tori's like, "Yeah, there's an underground exit." Like there always is.
Yeah. It's also, Tori, why are you just bringing this up now?
Exactly. And Ash and Rafe start like holding them off while everyone runs into the basement.
They're working together.
And then we just get a bunch of shots of the Deoxys dudes kidnapping everybody. But who escapes? Who manages to hide and get away?
It's Pikachu.
No, not
Brock?
No, not Pikachu.
May?
No, not Ash.
Brock.
No, not Brock. Plusle and Minun
All
and
the
Misty.
minions.
Plusle and Minun and Munchlax. They all get away. They all hide under the thing. And they get away, and then they sneak off into like a drain or something.
This is huge. That moment is huge. Make sure you're paying attention.
It kind of is, right? Like this, they become. You think that like you're like, why do we keep seeing these things? And they become a part of the plot.
Yeah, I thought it was the comic relief. I thought
Same.
this whole time Munchlax was just supposed to be the new Psyduck.
Right, so then we find out, we're back with our gang, and we find out that even Pokeballs have stopped working, which, as we've said earlier, is crazy. Doesn't make any sense at all. And, we also find out that Professor Lund, which is his name, the
Pointy hair
professor, his name he's the one who named the new Pokemon Deoxys. And this is where I was like, yo, this thing is tightly plotted. Like, all these things I kept writing down in my notes, like, this doesn't make sense. How would they know its name? How would this happen? And it's like, all of them have answers later.
Yeah, so this is maybe the first Pokemon movie that somebody took a second look at the script.
Even the IDs thing now makes sense, because, like, it gives Professor Lund, like, a reason to know that Tori and like everybody that's trapped inside the bubble still.
Yeah, that they're still alive and still wandering around.
Right. So like our heroes are trying to get away, and Plusle and Minnan and Munchlax stumble into the same facility that they're at. So Plusle and Minnan recognize Tori, and they're like, "Oh, that's that dude that pulled us out of a trash can earlier. Let's hang out with him." And yeah, so this is where the movie turns into something totally different, right?
Yeah.
Suddenly it's like this post-apocalyptic zombie movie kind of thing. The older kids, Ash, Brock, Tori, Rebecca, Rafe, they send them out to find the people who've been captured and also to find like food and stuff in case they need to be locked up here for several days. So it turns into this like post-apocalyptic zombie movie, right? Like they're trying to sneak their way through this city while these things are like hunting them.
Right.
While the other half of them is like hiding in this bunker. They find the hot dog robot. And they're like, "Oh, how do we get hot dogs out of this thing? It's a shame it's broken." And Pikachu zaps it and starts spilling hot dogs out. And the hot dog robot now is going to be a big feature of the movie from this point forward. In the next 40 minutes of this movie, we are going to see this hot dog robot like 30 times.
Right. Now, aren't we... Man, we really abuse or misuse, and abuse Pikachu's powers, don't we?
Right.
Like, in this world, like, every other Pikachu is being used for battle and, like, practical reasons, and we're just using this Pikachu in particular to, like, you know, jumpstart a hot dog machine.
Jumpstart a hot dog machine, electrocute human beings. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
He's an advanced Pikachu.
So the Deoxys dudes attack them as they're out looking for food, and we get another successful Ash punch, where one tries to steal... What do they try to steal? Pikachu? Or do they try to steal somebody? And Ash, like, charges it and tackles it and gets the thing back.
Yeah, he does it successfully.
I think, but, it's Plusle. They try to take Plusle, and Ash saves him, and then they take Minnan, and Minnan gets, like, taken away.
Right.
And Plusle's all bummed out about it. So they get back to this, like, all the rest of their friends are, like, hunkered down in a warehouse, waiting for death to approach. And we see the Deoxys dudes, like, kidnap the hot dog robot. And then when the hot dog robot runs out of electricity, they drop it into the water. And they're like, "Huh, that's strange." And they're setting up a mystery that has the, like, dumbest explanation in the world. You're like, "Oh yeah, what is it about living or moving things that make it, oh, this is interesting." Like, you're, as the viewer, you're like, "This is an intriguing idea. I wonder why." But we eventually will find out it's for, like, yeah, the dumbest reason ever. So everyone goes to sleep. Everyone sleeps in this, like, laboratory. Ash sleeps right next to Tori. This is another reason I thought maybe there was a thing going on.
They cuddle.
They cuddle at night. But you still got,
right.
you guys still think that's big brother, little brother stuff?
Yeah, but Tori's like 5.
No, it's been 4 years since Tori was 5. Tori's got to be Ash's age.
Well, even so,
no.
he looks 5.
Well, isn't Ash, he's 13 now?
No, I think he's still like 10.
Still 10?
Yeah, I think he is.
After all this?
I don't know.
Man, he's lived
Emotionally,
a really
he's-
eventful year, huh?
Yeah, okay, wait, what happens here? They go deeper into the lab, and they see this rock that they were shooting with lasers earlier. What do? They find out... Because Rebecca tracks the light patterns of Tori's friend, the weird shape, and the light patterns of the Aurora, and it's like, they're the exact same, whatever that means. And then they discover that the rock is another Deoxys. And if they power up the laser, they can shoot it at the rock, and it'll turn back into Deoxys. The end.
And then, yeah, somehow that'll solve the problem of a giant Deoxys attacking and destroying our city.
Yeah, we make another one. So, they go out looking for, what, electricity?
Looking for, like, a generator or something, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
And then...
The Deoxys dudes attack them, and Rafe gets captured.
Yeah.
And he's like, hey, no sweat. This is exactly what I wanted to happen.
He's so cool.
As this is happening, Rayquaza makes it through the barrier. And you're like, oh shit. Shit's on. Last time we saw Rayquaza and Deoxys around, they trashed a lab. This time they'll trash a whole city, I bet, or something. Our friends are in a lab. What if they get trashed too? Is I guess what we're thinking at this point.
I guess it just turns into another giant legendary Pokemon fight.
Yeah, there's
Yeah.
another legendary Pokemon fight. So up to this point, I'm really enjoying the movie. It's real densely plotted. It's real, like, there's a mystery here, and everything's, like, it's intriguing. It's pulling me along. There's some funny moments.
They're not revealing too much too early.
Exactly. And this is where the movie starts to just drag.
Yeah. And this is the 1 hour mark out of 1 hour 40.
Yes.
Yeah. So everyone, they Ash and crew get to this giant Epcot Center dome where all the prisoners are being held or whatever, and free them. Oh, this is also where we find out that the reason Deoxys has been capturing everybody is because he can't see his friend, the other Deoxys, when there's too much movement. So he needs to get everybody out of the way. So he's going in this like crazy, oh, the mystery is he wanted everyone to stop moving. So we could
ask them to stand still. He had to kidnap every living thing on the island.
So they get to this like Epcot dome. They free everybody by zapping the door. They all run to the wind turbines and use all these like different methods of like powering them. Like a bunch of flying Pokemon go up and shoot wind at the turbines, and Brock and all the humans pull it with a big rope, and Blaziken just is jumping up and down on it.
They really gave them the brunt of the work there.
Right. And it works. We also see Team Rocket, and they're trying to power up the thing on a little like electricity bike.
Yeah, without any context, right? There was no point at which they were like, we got to help the good guys. Everybody's doing it. They're looking for scraps of food, I guess.
And the good guys don't even know they're hiding in the bushes doing this. So it works. They shoot the rock with the laser. We get a second Deoxys. We get Deoxys 2. Deoxys' friend, Deoxys.
We have 2 Deoxys.
Deoxy.
And Deoxys 2 makes Ash and Tori fly. So there's another... like some kid makes friends with a Pokemon and Ash gets grandfathered in.
Yeah, and they all start
Ash really
flying.
does get all the glory for fucking everything that he never does. I genuinely hate Ash. I wish he'd go away.
He's gotten to fly more than anyone else in this.
Yeah, he gets to fly all the goddamn time.
And then all of a sudden these Deoxys are friends.
Yeah.
There's nothing bad is happening anymore.
Deoxys 1 is about to kill Rayquaza, and Deoxys 2 is like, no, stop. Gets like in front of him. Well, he doesn't speak, but he gets in the way. And they're like, we're best friends. Everything's cool. Everything's happy. And they start like dancing and stuff. Yeah, it seems like, we're at the end of the movie.
Yeah, the movie could be over right there. Hour 10 minutes. It was pretty tight. Maybe a little filler, but what else do you need?
But then Rayquaza attacks them. And you're like, okay, I get it. Like, we still need to solve the problem of Rayquaza. That is going to be the final conflict of the movie.
Somebody just needs to rein him
Fine,
in.
this will go 10 minutes longer, and it's a little unnecessary, but I guess I can see where they're going. So, Ash yells at the Rayquaza. The Rayquaza knocks the hot dog robot over. Rest in peace, Hot Dog Robot.
No.
From this point on, we see Hot Dog Robot a couple more times, but it's dead. It's dead.
Now there is only Hamburger Robot.
I want to see a spin-off with Hot Dog Robot and Hamburger Robot. One of these movies.
Oh.
That would be fantastic.
Fan art. Hot Dog Robot, Hamburger Robot.
Spin-off movie.
Okay. Mustache Mullet Man, Pokemon Hunter, Hot Dog Robot, Hamburger Robot, buddy travel movie.
Yeah,
like a road trip movie.
I'd watch the hell out of that movie.
Yes. Are the hot dog and hamburger robots Pokemon?
What are the robots?
You can be a robot and a Pokemon. Did you see Deoxys? Have you seen Transformers,
I think
Ashley?
Deoxys is an IUD.
Wait, are you implying that everything that is not a human is a Pokemon? Every machinery is a Pokemon? Because Matt and I were having this conversation a while ago about food.
Is all food
Wait.
Pokemon.
Is all
Why are
food
you all
Pokemon.
having conversations without me?
You see,
No, what I'm saying is that there are humans, Pokemon, and robots, but then there are also Pokemon that are kind of robots.
Okay,
Right.
so but you do agree that there is a separate category of objects that are not Pokemon, correct?
Yes, but what I'm
Okay.
asking is, were the hot dog machine and the hamburger machine just regular robots, or much like
Yes.
that lawnmower in Pikachu's Peekaboo, are they Pokemon?
the
that look
lawnmower
like
was
robots?
not a.
The lawnmower wasn't a Pokemon.
Did you see that one?
We did. It was not. The lawnmower was not a Pokemon. These
But I guess
robots are just simple robots.
There's very little blue sky between robot thing and Pokemon.
Well,
Yeah.
I'm shocked that Matt's arguing this because he agreed that every grain of rice was actually a Pokemon.
Yeah, what if every grain of rice was a Pokemon? What if, okay, you eat potato chips, right? How that potato, I'm looking at a bag of potato chips, that's why I use that as a. What if that potato was just a Pokemon that they shaved its body down
And then deep fried.
and deep fried?
That's possible. Those would be more like pork rinds, I feel like.
Is there a potato?
Unless it was maybe an oddish.
There's not a potato Pokemon, right? As far as I know, there's not a potato Pokemon. There's a cherry Pokemon.
Yeah, I feel like there's multiple root vegetable Pokemon, right?
Is cherry a root? Oh, cherry's a root vegetable.
What?
Yeah, cherry's a root vegetable.
No,
Yeah, I'm pretty sure cherry's a root vegetable.
I'm pretty sure I just want to finish this podcast.
So Rayquaza and Deoxys 1 and 2, they start fighting in like a tower. And somehow that makes all the security robots come back to life. And so you're like, okay, well, here's the final conflict. Rayquaza and the Deoxys, they'll fight. Somebody will win or somebody will say friendship out loud and then everything will stop. But
no. The security
then-
robots come to life. They start flying around the island going, emergency, emergency, which everyone's gone.
everyone knows here.
Flying zombie robots just kidnapped everyone on the island. We're aware that there's an emergency.
But then thousands of cubes just start swarming everywhere and fucking everything up. And the professor dad appears on a big screen. The spiky-haired Professor Dobrel, whatever his name was, is like, Tori, you need to find the chief robot and show him your ID, and then everything will go back to normal. Okay.
That's fair enough. I
Whatever,
guess it's
yeah.
like just like vampires.
In for a penny, in for a fucking hour and 38 minutes, I guess. So Tori and Ash start running across this, like, sea of cubes, and they jump on the fresh corpse of the hot dog robot, which Munchlax is hiding inside eating hot dogs out of.
Yeah, that guy's great.
And they're almost fall off, but then they almost run out of places to go until Munchlax falls into the security robots
And evolves.
and evolves. This is the first
I
time we've
guess
seen
from eating so many hot dogs.
Yeah.
Evolves into a Snorlax.
Yeah, I guess you evolved into a Snorlax by eating a lot.
So this is something I have a very strong moral qualm with.
Yeah.
They see a Snorlax there and are like, oh, we can hop on this Snorlax to hop over to the main security robot that we need to convince.
Yeah.
And in doing so, they just push the Snorlax down. He's floating above this pile of
Safely.
cubes that's drowning everyone.
Yeah.
They push him into this pile of cubes in order to bounce off of him so they can get to the security robot. They just knowingly sentenced him to death. And don't seem to blink an eye about it. They just, once he sinks into it, they're like, oh.
Oh, poor guy. Anyway. Yeah. They start, like, platforming their way to this chief robot. Like, there's all
yeah.
these, like, Mega Man style, like, jump across the floating blocks, climb the scaffolding, like, stuff. And Ash makes it all the way to the chief robot, and then, like a dumb idiot, drops his passport.
Yeah, he just pulls it out and tries to use it and just drops it.
So Tori throws his passport, Ash misses it, Pikachu leaps to his death and knocks it back into Ash's hand. And it works. The robots chill. Conflict over.
Cubes go away.
Cubes go away. It was that simple. We had to watch 20 minutes of movie to see that, just for that resolution. And the movie actually ends pretty quickly after this, right? Like the Deoxys, they fly in and they save Ash and Pikachu, and they save Tori, and they do we ever see Munchlax? No, Snorlax now is just gone.
He reappears. They show the Snorlax, so you know that he's not dead.
Okay,
but
they didn't. They had no way of knowing
know
what
at the
happened.
time. Yeah, they would have been happy to
Let
have
him
killed
die.
him.
Yeah.
To save the day, because they're more about the glory than anything. I think.
It's crazy that Munchlax had an arc, and that arc was just keep looking for food and eating food, and you'll eventually achieve your dreams.
Yes.
You'll
Yeah.
eventually achieve your full potential.
That's how I'm living.
Tori's arc, though, was keep trying to touch Pokemon, and one day you'll touch a Pokemon. Because at one point he's falling to his death, and he grabs Plusle and Minun, and it's like, so we're supposed to, I guess, cry or whatever.
He's over that fear of Pokemon he had and then solved an hour ago.
You can overcome your fears.
You're right. Overcome your fears is a good...
Yeah, but he already overcame that one.
Yeah, that's like the end, right? Like, everyone gathers in like a room, and they're like, "We did it." The end. And like fucking, we see Team Rocket pedaling on their bike still because no one told them.
Yeah, no one told them they saved the day.
And then it
generated
just
enough electricity.
cuts to the fucking credits, and everything else, and everyone says goodbye to each other in the credits, and Brock literally cries when they leave Rebecca.
Yeah, pretty standard credits fare. Like it's just them traveling to another place. There is a lot of saying goodbye. Mm-hmm. It's a very long credits
Because they didn't do any at the end of the movie. This was the first time they got to an end of a Pokemon movie, and they were like, "Ooh, we are overtime, actually."
Here's a question. Does the gang ever accomplish any goal they set out to when they originally planned their trip to wherever the movie takes place?
Okay, because they came to LaRousse City to fight in a Pokemon battle. To do a Pokemon battle. And I guess Ash kind of does, but in the worst way possible.
He does, yeah. He kind of got cheated out of having like a real one.
And then instead of sticking around to do a real battle, he just leaves after this mess.
Yeah.
The gang just shows up places, waits for chaos to happen, then dips.
Yeah. They usually solve a problem or just happen to be there when the problem's solved.
Or they caused the problem.
Or they cause the problem. But then, like, what are you traveling for in the first place? I guess to catch them all.
To catch them all. They're trying to catch them all.
I
They've
just feel
never
like-
caught a Pokemon in one of these movies.
Okay, so I have a second question.
Yes.
So we've already mentioned that Ash is, what, he's 9, 10, 13? Between 10 and 13.
Somewhere
yeah,
between
yeah.
10 and 13.
Okay. All right, so how many movies are there? There are 23,
Yeah.
correct? All right, so we're at 23. And each of these movies takes place in the course of how many days? Like, generally they take place in the course of, like, maybe
Say
3
to
days.
5. Yeah.
Yeah.
Right. So, collectively, so that's already over, 100 or so days, right?
Well, I mean, if we round up to a week per movie, it's really only 6 months that they're going through.
Right.
So from the time Ash has left home to the end of all the movies, this is an actual period of 6 months. So things have been batshit crazy since he just left his house.
Right.
Yeah, but this is his first time catching them all, so, he doesn't know.
It's saying here on the internet that by season 2 he was 11.
Okay. So what season is this movie taking place?
Season something 3, 2.
Season 3. So he is 12 or 13.
I think he's still 11, and I'm not sure about this because I have not watched any of these, and we will, I guess, find out as we get further in the movies. But I think he goes back in time eventually.
What?
I think he becomes 10 again.
That's not true.
I really hope that happens in the movies and not during the series, and we just have to figure it out one day.
Yes, I would love it if the movie came along and he's just like a smaller version of himself. And we have no idea why.
Okay, in the Orange League, Ash was 12, and that Misty was still around.
Right.
Oh shit! So he's
so in
beyond
Mewtwo
12
Strikes
at this
Back, he was 12.
Right.
I might be wrong, and you guys might have been right this whole time.
point.
Yeah,
Like
well,
13
see,
by now.
since we're not watching this in concordance with the movies, or the show rather, I'm sorry. We also don't. Do we know what happened to Misty? Because I know that actually that takes place within the series.
She's
So-
dead.
She's dead.
She's
Yeah,
probably
makes
dead.
sense. Makes sense.
So, yeah.
Or do you think she just threw up her hands and was like, I'm kind of done with this bullshit, and just sort of like, I'm gonna go be a better person without all you dragging me down.
Yeah, here's a really in-depth, unofficial website about this. And he appears to be between 12 and 13 at this part of the movie.
Boom. Boom. You owe me $100.
Here's I just so not to have too hot of a take on all this, but that's too young. I think maybe you should spend some more time at home.
Oh, guys, we shouldn't give too much credit to this website. It ends in a change.org petition to get an adult Ash in the next TV series.
I'll sign it. Why not?
No, imagine how awful he is as an adult.
I think the whole thing, it's saying he's like 16 and a half
Oh, damn.
at like this eventual point, but he definitely doesn't get that age. Like we're going to see. I've seen pictures of him in the future movies, and he goes so young. Like he turns young.
I think our engagement thing for this week, our thing that we should get people to do, is try to create a change.org petition on behalf of one of our Pokemon stances.
What is one of our Pokemon stances?
They should make it canon that Brock makes out with his Pokemon.
Yeah. yeah, that's...
I don't know, Ashley, you got a better one?
I didn't propose this. Bring Misty back. Oh,
Bring
can we
Misty
get
back.
Can we get a petition just to take Brock out completely?
Just get rid of Brock. Just
Oh,
delete
yeah,
Brock
never
from the history of...
Wipe him clean.
Yeah.
Cut him out of all the movies. Like, edit the movie together where Brock is never
Edit
seen.
the Pokemon movies back together without Brock in them.
Without
All he
Brock.
does is appear, say, girls, and then disappear.
He's completely useless.
The official...
As is Ash.
It's an unofficial thing, but the Bulbapedia says that Ash is only ever listed as 10. Every time they say his name, his age in the series, he's 10, even though in the series he has had multiple birthdays, multiple Christmases. He's been adventuring for somewhere. Fans have compiled that he's been adventuring for somewhere around 18 years in the series, but he is always 10.
Well,
So
you know, it's a
technically
different
he is
planet.
28 years old.
Yeah, he's 20. He's the 28-year-old, 10-year-old. Our buddy Satoshi Ash Ketchum. He's called Satoshi in Japan.
Chippin'.
It is, I mean, if they're on a different planet,
Yeah, maybe
maybe
age
just works differently. He's
Yeah.
been 10 Pokemon Planet years old.
I mean, because if we're thinking about it, Missy's dead, but Brock and May and Max haven't aged as well.
Plus, maybe he just earns experience slow. He's just gotta. He hasn't leveled up yet.
Oh,
You
man.
think humans in this world also?
They're a type of Pokemon?
Guys, what do you think about this movie? What's your final thoughts on this movie before we rank them and get the F out of here?
Who wants to go first?
I'll go
first.
Okay, you go first. You go
No,
first.
You go first.
No,
No,
you go first.
I'll
No,
go first.
There you
It disappointed me. I really thought for the first hour that like this was at least it felt like a movie. You were watching something with a plot that had like a few key elements, unlike other movies. But then all of a sudden they develop 15 different plans, and each plan leads to another plan, and they have to just wait for 3 giant Pokemon to fight it out between each other.
Agreed. Yeah, this movie I thought was tight and dense and good and entertaining, and then it went for 20 to 30 minutes too long. But it had some good character moments and some I don't know. It worked. As a movie, this worked. This was a movie. This was, unlike a lot of these other things we've watched, this was definitely a movie.
Yeah.
I was unsure if anything else what we watched was actually a movie.
Right. Ashley, now it's your turn.
Thank you for giving me my turn.
Now you have to go.
I have to go now.
Yeah, or we'll flip out.
Will you kick me off the podcast? if I
Is
don't
she
go
going
right
or not?
Pat's getting real worked up.
now? Okay. It was boring. It was a boring movie. I didn't like it.
You thought it was boring even in the beginning.
Okay, so when it did first begin, it caught my attention, but only for like the first 5 minutes, and it's just fucking boring. It is so long.
Yeah.
A Pokemon movie should not be this long. Like an hour 15 tops is how long a Pokemon movie should be.
Yeah, agreed.
And I'm not like this is almost 2 hours, and I'm not about that. I'm not trying to do that with my time.
That's over your allotted Pokemon movie watching time.
Yeah, I have.
How am I supposed to get this done while on the clock?
I have 7 hours of allotted Pokemon movie time, and this was just really eaten into like what I actually wanted to be seeing.
All right, do you guys want to do rankings? Let's rank these suckers.
God, I have no idea.
This is the worst. It's gonna get so much worse. Okay.
No.
Okay, so I put Celebi at the top.
Okay.
Then I would say Pokemon the first movie.
Okay.
And then this one.
Yeah.
And then I know Pokemon 2000 is at the bottom.
Okay.
Jirachi Wishmaker and Latios and Latias
Yeah.
are just above those.
just above 2000.
What am I missing?
You're missing Mewtwo Returns and
Ooh.
Pokemon 3 the movie.
Pokemon 3 the movie was bad, right? That was
No, the Unknown and Entei.
Oh, yeah,
that was
yeah.
not bad.
Okay, so actually I would put Unknown and Entei above this. I would put Mewtwo Returns under this. So I guess this is number 4
Okay.
out of the 8 that we've watched.
Yeah.
Extra points off because it disappointed me so hard, and because there is no appearance of Psyduck.
No Psyduck at all.
Damn it! I don't remember fucking anything.
God, I want somebody to write down a list, like all these lists.
It's never gonna be the
so
same.
we can see them next to each other and be like, oh my God, I put this one first, and then the
Okay.
next week I put it like 7th.
All right, here we go. Ready? All right.
Yeah.
So Celebi is 1.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I guess Enya is 2.
Right.
There.
It's also funny because of how much I cut out all the silence between us. Like, people don't realize that this
It's true. There's a lot of silence. that
to
happens.
them is like 3 or 4 minutes of us ranking Pokemon movies, which is too long.
And
But
that's the
to
thing,
me,
it's-
but to us 3, this is 12
It's
minutes.
10 minutes of us trying to remember what Pokemon movies
That's the
we've
thing.
watched.
Like that's why it's never consistent because I just want to fucking get through it, and I don't know how to like. Okay, so
Please let us out of this podcast.
We're banging on the sides of the podcast. It won't let us out until we've ranked the movies.
Wait,
Pokemon 3.
Nastiness 1, Enya 2.
Okay.
3 would be because I don't remember anything that I ever watched. 3 is gonna be the circus one.
Jirachi
Butler.
Wishmaker.
Wishmaker.
Yeah.
Okay.
4, you know what? I said it was boring, but I'm gonna make this one 4.
Yeah. They're all boring.
For the boring ones for.
You got Mewtwo Returns left, Latios and Latias.
Oh yeah, Latios. That's a perfect place. Latios is number 5.
And I got Mewtwo Returns, the first one, and 2000.
Oh, 2000 is last.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mewtwo Strikes Back is 6.
Okay.
And then we got
the first movie
one.
is 5.
No.
Or is 7.
7.
Yeah. Right. Okay. All right. I'm going. Okay. Number 1 is Celebi. Number 2 is.
Hey guys, we all said number 1 Celebi.
Nice.
Yeah.
That was a good movie. That was a good flick.
Good job.
Number 2 is Pokemon 3 the movie. Number 3 is Jirachi Witchmaker. Number 4 is Destiny Deoxys. Number 5 is Mewtwo Returns. Number 6 is the first movie. Number 7 is Latios and Latias. And number 8 is Pokemon the movie 2000.
Nice.
So we all have the same first and last movie.
Yeah. Now with some perspective, now that we're 8 movies in, we all agree on what the best and the worst are.
So guys, remember a couple weeks ago how I said I gathered a bunch of lists of the top Pokemon movies from different sites on the internet?
Yeah.
Top10s.com, Comic Book Resources, IMDb, Anime News, some random Reddit thread where somebody was talking really authoritatively about it, on like 3 other websites, right? And I took the average score of each movie, and I made a definitive ranking of ultimately where everybody puts these movies.
Okay.
Next Tuesday, we are going to watch Lucario and the Mystery of Mew. Well, next Tuesday we'll be talking about it. That's the next movie.
The title just sounds so awful.
Lucario and the Mystery of Mew. That is, on average, the number 1 ranked Pokemon movie from an average of 10 different websites.
I feel like you've said this before about a movie.
I think you said that.
I feel like you said that about Latios and Latias.
Latios and Latias is number 4 underneath. So it's Lucario, Unknown, 2000, Latios and Latias. Deoxys is down at like number 7.
Where's Celebi's Nasty Nest?
This is absolutely
Bullshit?
Crazy, but it's at like number 10.
Jesus Christ. Who
Yeah.
are...
It's below every other movie we've watched already. Guys, I think we're in for a fucking treat next week. Or, because we disagree with everything on this list, we're in for the worst Pokemon movie.
Wait, I missed it. Where did they put this movie?
The average is number 1. Top 10s has it at 1.
The one we just watched?
No, the one that we're going to watch next week.
Where did they put Deoxys?
Oh, sorry, where did they put Deoxys? Yeah, and on average, 1, 2, 3, 7. On average, this is number 7.
Damn.
You there?
Oh no, Ashley.
Ashley?
Was it because I cursed?
We lost Ashley. She's having some mic issues, so we're just going to wrap up, me and Pat.
She can hear us, though, and she's messaging us on Skype if we get anything wrong.
Okay. So, next episode is going to be Lucario and the Mystery of Mew. No more Pikachu shorts for a while. No more Pikachu shorts for like another 10, 12 episodes.
That's all right. They went out on top, I think.
Yeah, exactly. So you can find us on Facebook at The Very Worst Podcast. You can find us on Twitter at The Very Worst Pod.
You can email us, theveryworstpodcast@gmail.com.
Yeah, and you can just find us in real life and give us a handshake. Tell us you like our work.
DM me. I'll give you Matt's home address.
No, don't. But you can give them my 5 most commonly visited locations. Guys, thank you for listening. Yeah, and rate us and review us. You know, it's stupid, but it helps. So, I don't know, Pat, just do the thing.
Bye.